And hey, we're back with more Circles of Sorcery. All right. So the next one is Botanicalist, and you can grow plants, have them come to life. You can grow a vine up a cliff. You could, make vines that grab feet and entangle, that kind of thing. You could seal a portal with vines growing over it or plants growing over it. So pretty cool. That's a pretty cool one. Elementalist has 4 flavors. There's fire, earth, air, and water, and you choose one of those, and basically you're an attack type thing. But you also do have um, things you can do that are um, you're able to do utility things, or things that would be, like you could build a bridge across a chasm and that kind of thing. Those do cost karma also. So any other one that has like a super, if somebody creates a super utility like that, you can actually force them to spend karma on their spell casting. So that's pretty cool. And then we've got the Illusionist, which Illusionist is all about casting illusions into the mind. It's not about making a physical projection of something, right? Basically, they see it in their mind, and so it could be as large as a castle, anything, right? A dragon, anything. But you got to keep in mind that if a castle suddenly springs into being, people are going to question that, like, well, what? Is that what's happening? Um, the more subtle or the more probable you make the illusions, the more people are going to believe it. If you have somebody show up, some guy's wife show up as an illusion, yelling at him, and she comes out of a doorway, that's going to be much more believable than if she just suddenly pops and appears in front of him, right? He might disbelieve it. But another cool thing about illusion is they can affect more targets, because mostly when you affect one target, it's 1d6, two target 2d6, 3c6, 4d6, 5d6. But with illusionists, you can affect bigger groups. So a small group would have a one target would have a 1d6 like normal, but a small group would have like a 2d6. So you could do like up to 12, could be a small group, or a large group, 50 or more would be 3d6. So you're not rolling as many defense dice with more people. So that's a nice benefit to the illusionist. The necromancer, everybody knows what that is, bringing back the dead. But there to serve you. But there is one kind of fun thing that you get to carry. You get a skull to carry around, and it's kind of like it can speak messages from you, or talk to you, but it also is kind of a tireless watcher. So you could say, "Oh, Skull, oh Skull, when so and so comes in the room, tell them this, and sit it on the table." So the skull has no mobility itself, but you have it for that kind of thing. Next, we have Seers, which are interesting. So Seers uh, predict the future, right? So when you do this for a seer, don't be, oh, this, really concrete. Be really cryptic about it, right? And let them interpret what you're telling them. Okay. But they also have some other fun abilities. One is they have a spirit companion where um, it's like a ghost that follows them and they can talk to it. Um, it's usually a personage from the past or someone they knew. Uh, they also have psychometry, which they can pick up an object and get impressions from it. So that's cool. Like can tell you who used the object or even what it is. So that's a fun ability. They also have precognition, which like Minority Report. Remember that scene in the mall where she's like, "Oh wait, hold on," and then someone passes and then they can move, and she's getting them to move around. I'm picturing it like that, but I'm also picturing it in combat that when somebody attacks a seer in melee attack, the seer can move out of the way and the person hits themselves. Like they trip and fall on their sword, or they swing too hard because the seer steps back just at the right moment and they slice themselves and injure themselves. So on a 3+, um, you avoid the attack, and you would roll this before an armor save, and the the attacker takes a wound on themselves. So that's a really fun ability, right? That's pretty cool. Now, a shadow weaver is someone that weaves shadows, so you could blind people with shadows or cover cover the group with shadows and that kind of thing. And a shadow weaver can see in any darkness. This is the only ability or class or anything in the game that can see in absolute darkness. There's no infravision or anything like that, except for monsters. No characters will have that they can always see, but that the Shadow Weaver can see in anything. They don't. It doesn't. It can be complete darkness. But so that's another ability. The Shadow Weaver is pretty cool. Now the shadows don't have substance, so they can't actually move stuff or hurt anything. But they're great at like blinding or, like I say, covering up. If you're in bright sunlight, that can be harder for shadow weavers, and that's in there. That's in the rules form. Now, those are all the circles of sorcery. So then, let's see. I might have got these out of order. Oh yeah, I did. So sorry. Okay. So then you decide on your weaponry. Now, you can really have any weapons you want. Just don't go crazy with it, because the rabble rouser can say you're weighted down and make rolls harder, and even give you a boon if you're too loaded down. So just pick, what you would normally expect. You're not going to have 10 swords and, a crossbow and a bow and arrow and 20 torches. Be reasonable about it, because we have this how much I can carry, but also decide on the weaponry. Now, the deciding on the weaponry really goes with my thing where I like to play with miniatures. So you can just say your hero has whatever your miniature has. So if you have an axe in one hand and a sword in the other, that's what they got. They got a bow on their back. That's what they got. You can even say they have a bow and they don't show it on the model, but that's where that comes from, where you can just decide on your own weaponry. Yeah, that's fine. Within reason, within reason. Now, with the gear groups, what I like to do is you can have them choose one gear from each of the common gear groups, but I like to roll. I prefer to roll from each group and give them something, or you can roll 1d4 4 times and then have them roll a d6 and then give them from that group. Okay, so let's go back and look at the other page, because I kind of got that out of order. Oh yeah, so okay, so then there's, oh no, I didn't. Okay, so there's a specialty group here, which the same thing. Once you get the normal gear, you roll in the specialty group. So you should get 4 gear either choices or 4 random rolls from the normal gear, and then 4 from the specialty gear. Like I said, you could roll a d4, then roll a d6 for each group. Or what I like to do is just roll from each group to give players their starting equipment. And the last thing on the page is like transportation. So that's more of a story thing. If you're at a place where you get transportation, just kind of talks about that. Okay. So really, that is character creation, and it's not hard. It's fun. Since you're, if you're rolling for gear, that takes all the choice out of the game, right? The only choices you've got that you have to do are the hero paths, which are pretty easy, and then the inclinations, which are pretty easy, and then the aspects. And like I say, if you can't decide on an aspect, you choose it later. And if you choose a conjure, you choose a circle of sorcery, and you're done. There's no agonizing over spell lists and all this kind of study and bean counting stuff with spell points and spell levels and spell cards and all this stuff. You create your spells on the fly within your circle of sorcery. Okay, so that takes a lot of the drudgery of character creation out. And not only that, you can really create the type of characters you want by choosing a hero path, and the inclinations are really great for modifying your character. So, with a warrior character, you can play characters that you wouldn't normally have access to in other games, because the inclinations take you into that realm of, being a thief or a magic user or a holy warrior or, just someone who's super lucky. or someone who's super utilitarian. They got all these skills that will help the group get through difficult circumstances. So really, 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 this game is great for making characters. It's super simple. Um, all my players have loved it. I even do this at conventions. When I do conventions, I don't give out pre-made characters. I have the people make them at the table there because they're so fast. You can make them within 15 minutes, usually sooner than that, at a game. And I find that in other games, a lot of other regular weight games, it takes at least an hour to make a character. A magic user could even be more than that. It could be several hours, especially if you got someone that can't make choices on spells. So I think it's a great character creation system, and I hope that cleared up some stuff from you. Not only that, but like gave people an idea who might want to get into EZD6. What is it about? Like, what is character creation? What makes it different? What makes it special? And I feel the things I've talked about do make it different and do make it special. And not only that, fast, right? Because you want to play, right? You want to get to that table and have fun, as soon as possible and play. And the way these characters are built, with the list that walks you through it, it's like a new player doesn't feel, dumb or left out because they don't know all the special little things, the special rules that will make your character good, because there are none. All the inclinations are good. No matter which one you pick, it's good. It's good for your character. So, and you don't need to know those special synergies or rules or whatever. Those people that study for months or have cheat sheets that, go online and make the best character this way and the best character this way. Every character is the best character in this game. It all depends on the situation you're in, right? It really depends on the situation. So this character is going to shine here, and this character is going to shine there because they have stuff that complements each other, right? So, yeah, system is great. If you can't tell, I love it, and I hope you will too, and I think you will. And there's so many reasons to get into it. So I will see you next time. We'll talk more about EZD6. You guys take care, and go forth and craft, and happy gaming.